all of the Flint Bay region. NBC 25 News at 6 starts right now.
Breaking news out of Iosco County this evening. Michigan State Police are investigating a murder after receiving a tip from a person in custody. According to Lieutenant David Kaiser, troopers responded to a domestic violence call Wednesday in Hale and arrested a woman at the scene for outstanding arrest warrants. Now, while in custody, she told troopers of a murder scene on Snyder Trail in Plainfield Township. When troopers went to the location mentioned, they found what appeared to be a shallow grave. Now, the body of a man was found and is currently being exhumed. One man is in custody in connection with the crime, and we have a crew on the scene and will bring you the latest both on air and online. A Michigan pharmacy forced to shut its doors, leaving some customers without their much-needed medication. The Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs suspending All American Pharmacy on Flushing Road in Flint. NBC 25's Sarah Yeager is live at the pharmacy. And Sarah, were customers aware this was happening?
No, Sadie, they were not. In fact, customers have been coming here all day trying to get their much-needed medication and prescription, some even in need of diabetic medication, but unfortunately, it was all to no avail. Now, Laura did have registered a complaint against the pharmacy and the pharmacist in charge, citing the location was among the highest volume dispensers in Michigan for commonly abused substances. Despite its Flint location, a third of the prescriptions filled last year were from visiting home physicians with a Detroit mailing address. Officials from Lara inspected the building back in May and found expired medication and mislabeled prescription drugs. A suspension like this is only done when it is felt the public's health, safety, and welfare are at risk.
Most of the laws related to control of the are really based upon controlling the medications inside, to make sure that they do not get out to the general public and that they only get to individuals that are prescribed the medication.
I just left the skin doctors to get my medicine, but they called it in, but they are not open, so I'm going to have to call them and tell them send it somewhere else.
Authorities have removed all controlled medication from this location. Now, to get the license, the suspension lifted, they're going to have to go in front of the Board of Pharmacists. Unfortunately, they don't meet again until mid-September. Live in Flint, Sarah Yeager, NBC 25.
A few light showers in the area, but we will have a better chance of rain later tonight. Taking a live look at our Bay City Skynet camera, Chief Meteorologist Jamie Cagle has your first look at the storm-ready forecast and when we'll see the moisture. Jamie?
Well, we do have a chance as we get closer to about 11-12 tonight of finding that rain moving across the lower peninsula west to east for the most part. As we take a look at the satellite radar, as you take a look to the west, you can see much rougher weather across Wisconsin and trying to get across Lake Michigan. The good news is it is going to rapidly weaken as it comes ashore in the lower peninsula. We will be left with some showers, but our chance of severe weather remains very, very low for tonight. Right now, we just have a mix of sun and clouds. We'll see a little more cloud cover and a better chance of rain later tonight. Temperatures outside running anywhere from a mid-70 in Au Gres to a low 80. Flint at 82, Owasso at 83 degrees, Mount Pleasant also 82. The dew points, again, we're avoiding the 60s for the most part right now, enjoying some relatively comfortable conditions. Heading out the door, well, the numbers just continue to slowly drop through the 70s, and we will see an increase to the cloud cover, but for the most part, rain holds off until after the midnight hour for much of mid-Michigan, but we will have some overnight rain and those low 60s on the way. We'll talk about where temperatures are headed as we get closer to the weekend and if we have any rain chances over the weekend as well, coming up in your storm-ready weather forecast.
A tough day in Corunna for rescue crews after they tried to save a family's dog that was trapped in a house fire, but it was too late. Now, it happened at the house on East King Street around 11:30 or 1:30. When crews arrived, flames were shooting out of a side door. But Corunna's fire chief thinks it may have started upstairs. Although the family wasn't home at the time, the family's dog was upstairs in a cage. Fire crews rushed him outside and administered CPR, but weren't able to save him. It's unclear how that fire started. Gratiot County Sheriff's Office needs your help locating this man. They say Jacob Leonard cut off his court-ordered tether. Now, he is also wanted for questioning. If you have information on his whereabouts, call the Gratiot County Sheriff's Office. An update on a shooting at a Flint-Sunoco gas station last Friday. 29-year-old Andre Cannon is the man arrested for shooting 29-year-old Demetrius Pentoa. Now, Cannon faces multiple charges, including first-degree murder, 2 counts of felony firearms, carrying a concealed weapon, and felon in possession of a firearm. He was denied bond and will be back in court August 24th. School leaders in Ubly are planning their next steps after voters said no to a bond and sinking fund on Tuesday. Now, NBC 25's Nick Russo was in Ubly today and joins us live in studio with what this vote means for the school district. Nick?
If this vote passed, significant work was expected to happen at the Ubly schools, but now that work is on hold until the school district figures out how they will find funding. Superintendent Joe Candela says it's time to make upgrades to the small gym and some classrooms that were built in the 1930s. The school district wanted to spend money from the $8.4 million bond on a new elementary school classroom wing, which would have allowed them to expand the small gym. They also wanted to install a new floor and bleachers in the main gym, but Candela says right now they'll make do with what they have.
The greatest thing about democracy is people get the opportunity to vote. And they voted and made their decision, and I respect that decision tremendously. I think that's what democracy is all about. And we will go back and listen to what our people had to say, and we'll revamp and put something together that we think they can support.
The superintendent says they do have $120,000 in reserve money available to replace the main gym floor, but that's not enough to replace bleachers too. He's also not sure when they will ask voters or if they'll ask them for a new bond. Live in studio, Nick Russo, NBC 25 News.
For news updates at your fingertips, download the NBC 25 News app. Stay connected while you are on the go. Hundreds gathered at the Genesis Banquet Center in Grand Blanc Township this morning for the 19th annual Making Strides Against Breast Cancer kickoff breakfast. Now, the event is the pre-celebration to the 2017 Making Strides Walk that takes place in Flint on October 14th. Now, during the breakfast, participants were able to hear from survivors, donate, and learn more about registration for the walk. Community partners, survivors, and sponsors were all in attendance.
First of all, anyone and everyone can and should get involved. There's not a dollar amount or any other significant thing that should prevent somebody from getting involved. We welcome people to come join us and walk with us on October 14th, whether you raise any money or not.
3,000 to 4,000 people usually participate in the walk. If you're interested, we have all the registration details on our website. That's NBC25news.com. Today, Mid-Michigan Health in Midland invited the public to check out its newest robotic technology being used for surgical procedures. Now, the robot is said to be more precise and minimally invasive. NBC 25's Jasmine Durham had a chance to test drive one of the robots. And Jasmine, tell me what it was like.
Well, clearly I'm no surgeon, but I got a chance to test out the robots to see just how precise they can be. Mid-Michigan Medical Center says they've been doing robotic surgery since 2010, but thanks to advanced technology, they're expanding the procedures that they can provide to their patients. The unique thing about robotic surgeries is that the surgeon isn't actually touching the patient. They're sitting at a console working by translating the surgeon's hand movements into more precise ones. Those movements are then performed by small surgical instruments held by robotic arms.
The robot can give surgeons wrist movement and modular movement that is separate from being able to do laparoscopic type procedures, where they can actually maneuver things in a way where they can have less bleeding, less pain for this patient, and even better visualization with the way they're able to maneuver the instruments.
And now, so far, the robotics is being used for bariatric surgery, gynecological surgery, and urological surgeries, but they do have plans to expand it a little more.
So it might be pretty exciting for some of those patients, shorter pain, recovery time. It's definitely something that makes a difference.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. Well, last night's Powerball or Mega Millions drawing didn't have a winner. That means the combined jackpot goes up to nearly $800 million. This is the first time in 7 years that both of these lotteries are running at the same time. Powerball and Mega Millions have exceeded $300 million. Now, the odds of winning are 292 million. Now we want to know, are you planning on playing Powerball, Mega Millions, or both? Head to NBC25news.com to answer.
What would you do in the unlikely event that a nuclear war happened? Well, how would you react? Where would you go? I'm Joel Fike in Corunna with the story coming up.
Our weather is still dry right now, but we do have rain on the way for the overnight hours. I'll let you know what to expect as we go into those overnight hours tomorrow, and we'll take a look at the weekend in your Storm Ready weather forecast.
You're watching NBC 25 News at 6 with Dave Bondi, Sadie Hughes, and Chief Meteorologist Jamie Cagle. You're watching NBC 25 News at 6.
Welcome back. With tensions rising in North Korea and here at home, some are wondering what would happen if a nuclear war happened here. How would you react? Where would you go? NBC 25's Joel Fike joins us from Corunna.
In Corunna, a barber says nuclear war with North Korea would end quickly.
About 10 minutes.
Residents we talk with say it's hard to comprehend a nuclear war happening here.
It's really scary. And, I've got my first kid on the way, and it makes it even scarier thinking about bringing someone into, a political climate that's so volatile.
Trent Atkins is the Shiawassee County Emergency Management Coordinator. He says there's no dire threat that would cause nuclear war in Corunna, but he has a plan just in case.
Certainly if you're outside, coming inside, seeking lower ground, again, not any different than you would during a tornado, but, we're not recommending that people go out and dig bomb shelters. The likelihood is very, very small.
Atkins suggests you buy a weather radio to alert you about any emergency right away, plus have 72 hours of non-perishable food on hand. You might also learn CPR, since emergency crews could be extra busy at that time. It's hard for people to wrap their arms around the concept of nuclear war actually happening here. One woman had simple advice.
I just pray a lot, honestly.
In Corunna, Joel Fike, NBC 25 News.
Now, your certified NBC 25 Storm Ready forecast.
Good evening, Mid-Michigan. Well, we do have some rain on the way. We've seen a little bit of that cloud cover building in, and we'll take a look now through our Skynet camera at Traverse City, where they've already seen some showers, and you can see kind of that chalk white sky beginning to emerge as we have showers and even some thunderstorms to the west of us. Traverse City reporting 78 degrees at dew point at 58. Just a little bit of a breeze outside, but mostly cloudy skies. You take a look to the west side of the state, still very, very quiet. We've had a few showers up around the Traverse City area, but the stronger weather is expected to stay to the west of us. It may work its way across Lake Michigan, but it should begin to weaken as it comes ashore. As we go a little bit closer around Mid-Michigan right now, dry conditions still here, but as we get closer to midnight, that's when we should expect to see some of those showers working their way. But as far as the severe weather, that's expected to remain in Illinois and southeast Wisconsin right now, extending across into parts of Lake Michigan. And again, there's a look at the severe weather outlook. You can see how quickly we get back to that general thunderstorm category when you look towards Milwaukee and Chicago, which are under the slight risk category. So again, for tonight, a few rumbles of thunder, certainly a possibility. Widespread thunderstorms and severe weather, highly unlikely for us. We'll take a look at the futurecast. You'll see how it plays out for tonight. Again, we'll get close to the midnight hour, and now we have the showers coming through. There may be a few rumbles of thunder included. We're going to get into our Friday relatively quiet through the morning hours, but once we get into the heat of the afternoon, then we should see the scattered rain across the area. And again, a few more embedded thunderstorms, but severe weather does look like it is very low for your Friday. We get behind a cold front on Saturday. It cools off, but the weather also dries out. Your grill cast for tonight, you may have some clouds to contend with, but it should stay dry up until about the midnight hour. For the MoCast tomorrow, If you got to get stuff done outside, you aim for the morning hours. Once we get into the afternoon, scattered showers. And again, I think the numbers are just against you if you're looking for dry weather for tomorrow into the afternoon. So for the Shiawassee County Fair, make sure you have that umbrella with you or the rain jacket because you're likely going to need it through the afternoon hours. For Cheeseburger in Caseville, also the same. Temperature about 74 degrees, a little bit of a west wind, keeping it a little cooler there, and possible thunderstorms as we talk about the old-fashioned summer festival in Millington for tomorrow. As you get to the weekend, though, the weather does improve. We have a little drop in the humidity, a little drop in the temperatures, but we're talking about dry weather. Mainly dry still on Saturday. Leaning towards partly to mostly cloudy. Sunday's actually looking better. Sunday looks dry now with a mix of sun and clouds and a little bit warmer with that additional sunshine. Mainly dry on your Monday, back into the 80s. Scattered rain, well, the next chance after tomorrow is going to be next Thursday. So a pretty good stretch of weather there.
Yeah, we've been having a great stretch of weather, and guess what I was most excited about? The 80s.
Oh, the 80s. Yes. Yes, I know a lot of people probably think cool weather, fall's right around the corner. There's still 80s in your 7-day forecast.
Good to know. Yeah. Thanks, Jamie. Well, we want you to share your photos and video with our burst gallery. I love this one. Here's a picture of deer in the field from Denise in North Branch. What wildlife do you see around mid-Michigan? Share your photos and videos with NBC 25. Download our news app and click on See It, Send It. Coming up on NBC 25 News at 6, one Bay County organization received a generous donation today. We will tell you what it will go toward next. The United Way of Bay County received a generous donation this morning. AT&T gave the organization a check for $2,500 for more than 60 years. AT&T has supported the United Way. Now, this money will help support the local community through different programs, including the back-to-school clothing program to provide new shoes and outfits to more than 1,200 children in Bay County.
Helps us continue to work within our community to help those programs and services that we offer to low-income, moderate-income families, to more or less give them a helping hand to become successful and continue with their lives.
This year alone, AT&T has donated $4 million to more than 400 United Ways across the country. Today, a life-size statue of local philanthropist C.S. Mott was set on its foundation on Saginaw Street in Flint. Now, the bronze replica was placed in that location to grace the campus of the college that bears his name. Now, the statue was commissioned by the Back to the Bricks Committee and will be unveiled in a ceremony on Saturday, August 19th as part of the Back to the Bricks weekend.
This was long overdue that the Flint and Genesee County honors one of its more prominent citizens, and we want to do that with a life-size bronze statue of C.S. Mott.
These statues, created by local artist Joe Rundell, celebrate key leaders in business, industry, and labor of the Vehicle City. And you're taking a live look at our Saginaw Skynet camera. Coming up, Jamie will have a look at your storm-ready forecast and when you will need that umbrella tomorrow. Coming up next, Taylor Swift takes the stand. The pop star's facing the man she accuses of inappropriately touching her in a courtroom showdown. Plus, Saturday Night Live weekend update goes prime time. Lester Holt sits down with the host to talk about political comedy boosted by the election of President Trump. And we've got some good things in store coming our way.
Yeah, a little rain on the way first, which we can always use some beneficial.
Which is good to me.
Yeah, it's good beneficial rain. But we have a pretty good weekend coming up as well. As you take a look at the storm-ready Doppler radar, rain moving from Wisconsin into Lake Michigan is going to weaken rapidly as it gets closer and closer to mid-Michigan. Expect some showers, even a few rumbles of thunder. Severe weather will stay pretty much confined to where you see that pink box. And the weekend, as I mentioned, looks pretty good.
Not a downpour, though.
Nope.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
We're here with Secretary Shulkin. Secretary, thank you so much for joining us. It's been almost 6 months since you've been sworn in as the VA Secretary, and it's been a very eventful 6 months here at the Veterans Administration. One thing that's been key is the Forever GI Bill. What are some of the key tenets of the GI Bill that the folks at home should know about?
Well, the GI Bill is something that we feel very proud of and we think is great news for veterans and actually for all of America. It's a bill that extends the benefits of GI education beyond the 15-year period to a lifetime benefit. And as we know, veterans want to be able to use their benefits for their lifetime, continue to learn and advance their skills, and we think that that's great news. The other thing that it does is it begins to allow Purple Heart recipients, those that were wounded in service, to use their GI benefits. If somebody was injured early on in their service, they previously didn't have enough time to be able to use their benefits, and we think now we can get this right for our Purple Heart recipients.
One of the issues that I noticed in the new Forever GI Bill was the assistance to veterans who are going through education at a for-profit college, but the college goes out of business. Why is that in the bill?
Well, one of the things that we've seen is that veterans were using their benefits and then a college would close or a university would close and then the veteran wasn't able to finish their education. This bill corrects that. If a college or university closes, the veteran retains the benefit of the GI Bill so that they can go back and finish their education. We think that's important. We think that veterans deserve that. And again, it will be a good thing for American employers who get to have veterans that are educated.